So I've taken a few days off from talking about my reading on telomeres to spend some time with my mother and, frankly, to absorb and think about the messages that I'm sending my own telomeres. After all, even though I'm sharing the information, I want everyone to have a healthier lifestyle, but I'm trying to lengthen mine as well. Not because I want to live forever, but like I said a couple weeks ago, I would like my health span to match my lifespan. So I'm going to do what I can, just like I want all of you to do. So this past week, I continued to read The Telomere Effect, learning about the types of stress responses we have. We already know that our cells listen to this, but Blackburn and Epple published a test in their book that everyone should take. It is very revealing about how we all respond to stress. So tomorrow, I'm going to start talking about the different ways we respond. Have a great night. Hey, take a look at that blue heron in the background. Isn't that cool? All right, so continuing on. When you're stressed, do you respond with fear? Do you ruminate or brood? Does stress trigger negative thoughts about yourself to the point of feeling worthless? Are you able to rethink the stressful situation in a positive light? If you are unable to do that and reshape a stressful situation, and not all situations can be rethought, then our bodies turn on a strong hormonal and inflammatory response. This is considered toxic stress, which in turn shortens the telomeres, which in turn affects the immune system. So, did you know that caregiving is one of the most profound stresses a person can experience? In the U.S., family caregivers perform an estimated $375 billion in unpaid services each year, and that was in 2014, according to a study. If you are a caregiver, you have been identified as one of the most chronically stressed groups of people. I love it that you're listening, but you really must get a copy of this book. And tomorrow we're going to talk more about our stress responses. Okay, so when the stress response system is on high alert, the body produces more of the stress hormones cortisol and epinephrine. The heart also beats faster and our blood pressure increases. The vagus nerve, which is the large nerve that runs the length of the body, the one that helps modulate the physiological reactions to stress, it withdraws its activity. These responses seem to accelerate the aging process. Stress is unavoidable, but how much can we handle before our telomeres are damaged? So, the authors write that a small dose of stress does not damage your telomeres. In fact, maybe short-term manageable stressors help build our coping muscles. Telomeres can rebuild once the stress is gone, if it's short-term. But when the stress is enduring or a defining feature of your life, it can act as a slow drip poison. Fortunately for those who live with stressful situations we cannot change, the author's studies indicate chronic stress does not have to lead to telomere change or damage. We have the ability to learn how to handle this kind of stress. So that's next. How do we handle it? Okay, so there are two ways to respond to stress: the threat, fear response, or the challenge response. So the telomere effect suggests that we learn how to respond with the challenge response. So let's review. When we are stressed, if we feel anger, anxiety, or even shame, then this is what happens in the body. Our blood vessels constrict with less blood flow to the brain. The adrenal gland releases cortisol, which gives you energizing glucose, but your brain doesn't know how to shut it off. And your vagus nerve, which normally helps you feel calm and safe, withdraws its activity. Those of us with this response also suffer from worry or anticipating the worst, worrying about something before it actually happens. So, what is the challenge response? The challenge response helps you muster your resources. It helps you use those things that happen in your body. Here are some questions to ponder when you're thinking about how you respond to stress, and we'll go on tomorrow. Threatened or challenged? Which one is you? Do you borrow trouble ahead of time? Do you brood? Do you feel like diving in for action or diving under the covers to hide? We'll talk about that tomorrow. Okay, so yesterday we talked about all of the things that our body does when we experience stress. So all of those organs, the heart, the adrenal gland, the vagus nerve, all of those parts of our body that perform different functions. Okay, so we can use those and feel challenged, or we can let them run rampant and feel threatened. Okay, so let's talk about our heart rate. It increases when we feel stressed. We can use it to oxygenate more blood and increase the blood flow rather than to restrict it. Your adrenal gland gives you a nice shot of cortisol. We talked about that. We can use it to increase energy, but if we use it correctly with the right response, the brain is able to shut it off at the appropriate time because it's receiving more blood. If we handle stress from the challenge point of view, we are able to make better decisions and do better with tasks. The challenge response is also associated with better brain aging and reduced dementia. This response helps us engage more fully with, which is the opposite of the threat response, where we withdraw, feel defeated, and sometimes freeze or feel ashamed. So to summarize for the week, when we can't control the stressful events of our lives, we can still protect our telomeres by shifting the way we view and react to those events. So more coming on Monday. Have a great weekend.